Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so you sent over a whole lot on sleep science, focusing really heavily on Dr. Matthew Walker's book, Why We Sleep.
Right. And for years, we've all heard that health is, like a three-legged stool. Diet, exercise, sleep.
Yeah, the classic pillars.
Well, our mission today is to kind of dismantle that idea. Walker's research basically argues sleep isn't just one of the pillars.
Yeah.
It's a foundation. The whole thing rests on sleep. Without good sleep, diet, and exercise, well, they don't deliver nearly the same benefits.
So it's not just about feeling rested, it's deeper.
Much deeper. We're talking about active biological processes that happen while you sleep. Things that literally dictate your health, your mood, even how well you fight off illness.
Okay, let's get into that. So the first big idea to ditch is that sleep is passive, like flicking an off switch for the brain.
Exactly. That's completely wrong. When you sleep, your brain is incredibly active, cycling through these two really distinct phases.
Right, the NREM and REM stages, what's actually happening there.
So it's this really specialized architecture. You cycle between NREM, non-rapid eye movement, and REM, rapid eye movement sleep.
NREM first, usually.
Yeah, NREM tends to dominate the early part of the night.
Yeah.
And think of it as like the brain's deep clean and data management phase.
Data management and deep clean. You mentioned sanitation before.
I did. It's fascinating. During deep NREM sleep, the spaces between your brain cells actually get bigger.
Really? Why?
It allows this fluid, cerebrospinal fluid, to flush through more easily. It's called the glymphatic system, and it clears out metabolic junk that builds up while you're awake.
Like brain plaque? The stuff linked to Alzheimer's?
Precisely that kind of waste product. Plus, NREM is where your brain does a lot of the heavy lifting, transferring memories from short-term holding, like the hippocampus, to long-term storage across the cortex.
Okay, so NREM is physical repair, brain cleaning, and memory filing. Got it. What about REM sleep then? That's the dream state, right?
That's the one. REM is more about the psychological and creative side of things. It helps integrate complex learning, connect ideas in novel ways, and crucially, it's vital for emotional regulation.
Emotional regulation. How does dreaming help with that?
Well, Walker calls it overnight therapy. During REM, your brain processes emotional experiences, especially difficult ones, but in a unique neurochemical state.
What's unique about it?
Key stress chemicals, like noradrenaline, are actually suppressed during REM. So the brain can replay and process these memories without the intense emotional charge they originally had.
So it's like defanging the stressful memory a bit.
That's a good way to put it. It helps you gain perspective and not be so reactive the next day.
Which makes that old advice, study hard, then sleep on it before a test, makes so much more sense.
It's absolutely fundamental. You're not just resting. Your brain is actively working to consolidate that information, locking it in.
And the results are measurable.
Oh, hugely measurable. Get this. Walker's research consistently shows people perform about 40% better on memory recall tests after a full night's sleep compared to staying awake.
40%. That's not a small difference. That's massive.
It's huge. It can absolutely be the difference between passing and failing, or between average performance and excelling. You're literally shortchanging your brain's potential if you skimp on sleep.
And tying that back to the emotional side, that overnight therapy, if REM sleep helps process difficult emotions,
then consistently missing out on REM sleep makes it harder to cope. You're more likely to be emotionally reactive, anxious, maybe even prone to depression over time.
Okay, this is clicking. Let's go back to the NREM deep clean for a second.
Yeah.
You mentioned clearing out waste like beta amyloid, the Alzheimer's protein.
Yes, that's a critical function of deep NREM sleep.
So what happens if that cleaning process doesn't happen properly night after night, like chronic insufficient sleep?
Well, the evidence is mounting that this is a major risk factor. If that glymphatic system doesn't get enough time or isn't efficient because of poor sleep, those toxic proteins accumulate.
And that accumulation is directly linked to neurodegenerative diseases.
Correct, particularly Alzheimer's. It's not just about feeling foggy the next day. It's potentially contributing to long-term brain health decline. Serious stuff.
Okay, so the brain needs sleep for memory, emotional balance, and literally cleaning house to prevent disease. Let's shift to the rest of the body. How does sleep loss impact us physically?
This is where some of the most, frankly, alarming data comes in. Your immune system is incredibly sensitive to sleep duration.
How sensitive?
Consider this one statistic from Walker's work. Just one night of sleeping, only 4 or 5 hours, can slash your body's natural killer cells by 70%.
Wait, say that again, 70%?
70. These are crucial immune cells that target and destroy tumor cells and virus-infected cells.
So one bad night basically decimates a huge part of your internal defense force.
Pretty much. It dramatically weakens your immune surveillance overnight. That single fact really reframes sleep as essential for fighting off illness, including potentially cancer.
That's incredibly compelling. Okay, beyond the immune system.
The damage continues. Poor sleep wreaks havoc on your metabolism. It disrupts blood sugar regulation, making you more insulin resistant.
That which increases the risk of
type 2 diabetes significantly. It also messes with the hormones that control appetite, like ghrelin and leptin, often leading to increased hunger and weight gain.
So it hits your weight, your blood sugar.
But what about cardiovascular health?
Also takes a big hit. Sleep deprivation consistently leads to higher blood pressure, increased heart rate, and more systemic inflammation, all of which are major risk factors for heart disease and stroke.
Right, so the overall message seems to be, sleep isn't optional. It's preventative medicine. It lowers your risk across the board: cancer, diabetes, heart disease, dementia.
Exactly. It's foundational healthcare you give yourself every night. Which brings us to the paradox. If sleep is so critical, why are we, as a society, seemingly in a state of chronic sleep deprivation? Walker calls it a global epidemic.
He does, and he points to modern life, doesn't he? Yeah. Our obsession with 247 productivity, constant electric light, late-night screen use, caffeine culture, shift work, it all conspires against our natural sleep patterns.
And certain groups are hit harder.
Absolutely. Teenagers are a prime example. Their natural body clocks shift later during puberty, meaning they want to sleep later and wake later.
But school starts early.
Exactly. So early school start times systematically rob them of sleep, particularly that vital REM sleep, which happens more towards the morning hours.
And REM is crucial for learning and emotional regulation, just when they need it most.
It's a terrible mismatch between biology and social structure, really setting them up for academic and emotional difficulties.
Okay, let's talk about the common culprits, the things we do that sabotage our sleep. I imagine caffeine is high on the list.
Oh, definitely. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors in your brain. Adenosine is the chemical that builds up throughout the day, creating sleep pressure.
So caffeine basically puts roadblocks up against the signal telling your brain it's time to sleep.
Precisely. And it has a long half-life, meaning even a cup of coffee in the early afternoon can still be impacting your sleep quality hours later.
And alcohol, people think it helps them sleep.
That's a common misconception. Alcohol is a sedative, so it can make you fall asleep faster. But the sleep it induces is not natural, restorative sleep.
How so?
It heavily suppresses REM sleep, especially in the first half of the night, and it tends to fragment sleep later on, leading to more awakenings. So you wake up feeling groggy and unrefreshed despite having been out.
No overnight therapy happening there then?
Definitely not. Okay, so for listeners thinking, right, I need to fix this, what's the non-negotiable rule here? Duration is key. Adults consistently need 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Walker is very clear. The idea that some people can train themselves to function optimally on less is largely a myth.
7 to 9, no shortcuts.
Biologically, that seems to be the requirement for full physical and mental restoration.
And what's maybe the single biggest practical change someone could make starting tonight?
Probably managing light exposure, especially from screens. The blue light emitted from phones, tablets, computers. It's a powerful signal to your brain that it's still daytime.
And that messes with melatonin production.
Exactly. Melatonin is the hormone of darkness. It signals to your body that it's time to wind down and sleep. Blue light suppresses its release.
So that late night scrolling habit is actively fighting my own sleep chemistry.
You got it. You're essentially telling your brain, stay awake, right when it needs the opposite signal. The advice is pretty consistent. Try to avoid screens for at least 60 to 90 minutes before you intend to sleep.
Put the phone away, maybe read a physical book instead.
That would be ideal. Create a buffer zone between screen time and sleep time.
This has been incredibly eye-opening. Our mission was to dig into why sleep should be seen as the foundation, not just a pillar. And the data points, that 40% memory boost, the scary 70% drop in immune cells, the brain's cleaning cycle. It all paints a picture of sleep as this incredibly active, vital process.
It really does. And it protects and enhances basically every system in your body and mind. Now, we should probably acknowledge one common discussion point about Walker's book.
Okay, which is?
Some people find the tone a bit intense, maybe
Yeah.
slightly alarmist, focusing heavily on the dire consequences of not sleeping enough, sometimes without offering quite as much tailored practical how-to for every individual situation.
But you could argue the stark data is the alarm call we need.
You absolutely could. And the core science is robust.
Yet-
What's really striking is how our culture tends to glorify the hustle.
Right.
Sacrificing sleep is almost worn as a badge of honor.
Yeah, burning the candle at both ends.
But the science tells us the opposite. Real, sustainable, high-performance, creativity, and long-term well-being, they actually start with prioritizing sufficient rest. Sleep isn't the enemy of productivity, it's the enabler.
It's the ultimate, maybe counterintuitive, competitive edge.
Well put.
Okay, that leads us perfectly into our final thought for you, the listener, to take away and think about. The research hammers home the importance of consistency. Going to bed and waking up around the same time every single day, yes, even weekends, is critical for stabilizing your internal body clock, your circadian rhythm.
That rhythm governs the quality and structure of your sleep. Consistency anchors it.
So here's the question for you. If we know your brain performs up to 40% better on learning and memory tasks after consistent, sufficient sleep, what are the real long-term costs of your current sleep habits? What compounding opportunities in your career, your learning, your personal growth might you be missing out on simply because your sleep is erratic or insufficient?
It forces you to weigh that short-term convenience, like staying up late, against potentially huge gains in long-term optimal function. It's a choice, really.